everyone, and welcome to the Rider Magazine Insider Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Kevin Duke, filling in for Greg Drivenstedt. Joining us on this episode is Sebastian Schoepe, the newly appointed CEO of EagleRider. EagleRider is renowned as one of the premier motorcycle rental companies in the world, and it also hosts a variety of tours. Let's learn about his plans for EagleRider's future.
We want to thank Hard Drive for supporting this episode. Hard Drive service covers are must-haves for everyone from garage tinkerers to professional high-volume shops. Hard Drive has taken a key industry shop item and kicked it up a notch to fit newer style bikes and added functional features where your tools can easily move from job to job and bike to bike. Hard Drive's tank service cover is designed to fit gas tanks on newer V-twin models up to 6 gallons and with raised dash panels. The protective black PVC leather cover has a soft lining underneath to protect painted finishes, and protected sewn-in earth magnets help stabilize the service cover on the tank. A shallow textile pocket in the center holds tools, hardware, or small components. And on the sides, there are additional double-stitched textile pockets with securing elastics to ensure tools stay in place while working. Hard Drive's front fender service cover is designed for newer models with narrow to wide fenders with wheels up to 23 inches in diameter. The protective black PVC leather cover has a soft lining on the bottom to protect painted surfaces. On both sides of the cover are 4-inch pleated textile pockets to hold tools and components, and a built-in elastic strap secures the cover to the fender. Find out more about all of Hard Drive's American V-twin products at hdtwin.com or at your nearest Western Powersports dealer.
Let's kick this off. We're here with EagleRider's new CEO, Sebastian Schoepe. Is that how you pronounce your name, Sebastian?
That is actually how you pronounce it. Like soap, just Schoepe.
Okay. And so you got brought on board with EagleRider in June, I think, right? Why'd they bring you in?
Yeah, so I've been here a little over 2 months now, and EagleRider is at a very interesting crossroads right now, or a very interesting phase of growth, where we have our existing customer base, but then there's another customer base out there, a younger demographic, that we're trying to make aware of the brand, but also get them to rent and ride and get them on tours and our off-road tours, motorcycle rides. And I've done this before. Before taking on this role, I was the CEO of Gold's Gym worldwide, and they faced a similar challenge where Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, all these guys built Gold's Gym in the 60s, 70s, all the way through the 90s, and Gold's Gym under previous ownership lost a bit of its way of what it really stands for, and how can you really focus on the product and then also tweak the product that you don't lose the legacy members or legacy customers that you have, but also prepared for the future. And we've done that successfully over there. So I think the ownership group here may have seen some potential there, and that's why they brought me in.
Okay, so you've got a number of businesses. You've got some ideas on how to change or tweak some of them. So what's the core business? And then what's the business maybe that isn't really so prominent right now, but you think has good potential in the future?
So the main business component of EagleRider are our rentals. But that's a combination between rentals, like individual rentals, groups come in or individuals come in and get a bike and just go off on their own and go for a round trip, or they do a one-way from, I don't know, Chicago to here, just on their own pace. But then the second big component of the business are our tours, our guided tours. And the biggest one here is actually a tour from Chicago to LA. It's our Route 66 tour. It's about 15 days or so, and you ride in a group, and our guides have been on this tour. We have a guide that has done the tour over 66 times. So he knows every corner of the Route 66 here, and they stop at the most important sites. So you don't have to worry about it. You just follow the lead. And you just follow along, and they stop at the most important sites and tell you about the history. And obviously everybody wants to do it from Chicago to LA and end up at Santa Monica Pier rather than the other way around. So actually the way it was built. So those two are the biggest components, is the rentals that we have through different OEMs. So we have Harleys, Triumphs, Royal Enfield, BMWs. So there's anything you can choose from. But then we also have the guided tours that are a big component to our business as well.
Well, there's a lot of tour companies around. I'm not sure any of them have somebody who has ridden Route 66 60 what times?
over 66 times. I think he hit 66 a couple years ago. So he's done quite a few of those. No, I think it's very special, and our guides are very special to us because they just love to ride, and if they can, pass on that passion, to other riders and give them the greatest experience, because especially our international customers that come in from mainly Germany, France, they come from the UK, from Italy. It's a dream of theirs to go on a Harley Davidson and take the Route 66 tour. It's like one of those bucket list items, if not the bucket list item for them. And if we can make it a great experience with our phenomenal guides, we're happy to do that.
Okay, so you've got global customers and you've also got global operations. How many locations does EagleRider have, and how many of them are in the United States?
So we have about 200 locations worldwide. The majority of them are in the US, but then we have our franchisees and also our affiliates throughout the world. So if you flew to Australia, we have EagleRider locations there. If you want to rent with EagleRider in Japan, you can do that. Obviously, all across the US, and then in Europe, from Ireland all the way to Morocco, we have a bike for you, especially in Spain and Italy, Tuscany, around Barcelona. I always say that our locations are like golf courses. They're in the most beautiful areas, because that's where it's worth riding, and that's where we set up shop and have a great partner network throughout the world, and can deliver those unforgettable memories across different geographical but also cultural borders.
That seems like a very efficient way to tour by motorcycle. Instead of like spending a couple days riding to the location you want to get, you can just fly in there, pick up a bike that's in great condition, a recent model, and ride it around and drop it off and fly home. So instead of burning a couple weeks on a vacation, you could do it in 5 or 7 days, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And you touched on something with the age of our models. So we have latest models, so 23, 24 is what we have right now, and then we defleet them and bring in new bikes every year. And we don't run the miles up very high, so that you always get a bike that's in tip-top shape that you can take. And speaking of that, of the travel, and you can fly and ride basically. And you asked me the question before, and I didn't answer. What are the components, the product components that are not well known yet, or are not the main focus? And one of them is our Club EagleRider, and there's two versions of that. So let me explain what it is before we get into this.
Yeah.
So it starts at $29 a month, and for those $29 a month, you can pick up a bike one day per month and just ride it around. So this is great for people that are local and they want to try different bikes. So you come and you buy this credit for $29, and you use that credit on a bike, and you go out and you take it out for a day. And the bigger the bike, then you may need two credits. Like for a Harley Road Glide is obviously different than a Scrambler, but you can try all these different bikes. It's good for people that want to have that ultimate garage of all these different bikes. They may own their bike, but they want to ride something else for a day or two. And also for people that have not made a decision which bike to purchase yet. So if you finish the riding school and you don't know what bike to get because it's a big investment, and if we're honest, nobody really needs a motorcycle, but you want to get the right one for you, you can come to EagleRider, and with that club membership, you can try out different bikes. And then within that club, there's also a different target group, and we always say it's the bike in your suitcase. So if you are traveling and you're a club member and you fly somewhere else, you can use your credits at a lot of those locations worldwide and pick up another bike that you may not ride in your hometown. So that's one component that we're going to be focusing on, in addition to a few others. But I think there's a lot of potential in this club, in the subscription model, where you have access to this ultimate garage of all these different bikes. But I also believe that eventually, if you keep on renting, and at some point you want your own bike, everybody's going to buy their own bike, and then they're going to customize it. And at the end of the day, it's going to be the best bike in the world for them.
Right.
So I think it's a good way to try out, what you want. Is it a Sportster? Is it a cruiser? Is it a performance bike? So that will really help, because the barrier of entry and the price point is so low that you can actually try it out without making a big purchase, and maybe, I don't want to say the wrong purchase, but there may be a more optimal purchase in the future.
Yeah, people are always asking me, what bike should I buy, right? And different riders appreciate different things on bikes. So it's hard to make a recommendation that this bike will be perfect for you. And if you can just for as little as $29 a month or 100 or $200 for a rental day, if you're not a Club Eagle rider member, you could try the bike. And so I think this is the bike for me. And so you can come in and ride the bike and you could find out, oh, this is the perfect bike, or, oh, I don't like this. I'm going to keep looking. And so it's like the ultimate demo ride, right?
That's really what it is. And I'll tell you my story if we have a couple minutes. So I started renting with EagleRider in 2017 while I was still with the fitness group. And my first ever motorcycle ride was from this. I'm actually at the LAX location here for EagleRider. So my very first motorcycle ride ever was from this location on an Indian Scout. And 6 months later, I came back to the store. We rented again, and it was a Harley Davidson Street Glide. And we took it up through the canyons of Malibu and then up to Ojai and then Neptune's Net for some crab legs and then back here. And then I flew out a couple months later. I flew out to Miami and rented from EagleRider again, another Street Glide, and I rode the Street Glide all the way down to Key West and back. It's a beautiful ride, obviously. Not very many turns, but it's a beautiful ride. Mm-hmm. And after this ride, so I spent about 15 hours or so on the Street Glide. I went to the Harley dealership here in LA, in Glendale, and I said, I would like to buy one because I spent 15 hours on this. And a rental is a rental, it's all stock. So there's no customizations, nothing like that. But if I didn't spend 15 hours on that bike, I would not have I switched to a road glide, but I would not have spent that amount of money on a bike. Because like you said, the test, it's the ultimate demo ride, and that's what our partners, our OEM partners see, that we can deliver the experience of their bike for an extended period of time before their customers make the decision to purchase. Because a 3-mile ride around a dealership, I don't think will justify a price point of $30,000 for top of the line motorcycle, right? So I did that. Now I own 3 bikes. I kept on collecting and adding to the collection, but that is how I used EagleRider very much in the beginning, is trying out these bikes, and renting is riding for me, number one, and number two, what kind of bike would I like? And then went out and purchased it.
I think I've heard you say something like the end of the road is always a purchase. Maybe you could explain that?
I think so, because it's always, whenever I dropped off the bike, and now, we were actually riding on the East Coast about 4 weeks ago, and then also in Milwaukee for Harley Davidson Homecoming. And we now have actually CVO road glides in our portfolio for a limited period of time. And I was riding the CVO for a few days, and then I had to drop it off, and it was quite sad. And I really don't need a CVO road, but it was a little sad dropping it off. And we see this all the time, especially with our international customers here at LAX. When they finish their tour, we have people leaving a rose on the seat and taking one more picture of the bike. I think it's always sad if you drop off that bike, but that's why I say I think the end of the road is a purchase, because you want to have it for yourself and you're going to ride it for forever. And I've seen, now I just got back from Sturgis a couple days ago, and you see people riding their bikes and customizing their bikes and just loving their bikes. You can't do that on a rental. It's great to get into riding or if you're traveling, but at some point your bike will reflect your character, I think. Yeah. But a rental will never do that.
Is Harley the take up the bulk of your rental fleet, or how does it break down?
The majority are Harley Davidsons, and that is mainly driven by the demand of international customers. Like when they do come to the US, they do want to ride a Harley in either Route 66 or through the canyons, or around Sturgis, and even down south. We have a bikes, blues, and barbecue tour as well around New Orleans, running up towards the north of the country, and that is one bulk. But then we also have, the Harley models are usually the touring models, but then we also have customers that want to come in and get smaller bikes as well. Yeah. So we have Yamahas, we have the Triumphs, Royal Enfield. So we have a good BMWs, the R9T, all the way to their touring bikes, as well. And so we have a good selection of OEM. So I believe there's like 4 or 5 different ones. We're bringing in some Ducatis now as well. The new Ducati Scrambler, we bring a few of those, and the Multistradas. So it's a good selection of, small, nimble bikes for beginners or urban rides, and that don't need all the bags and all the accessories, up to touring bikes that you can take around and hit 300 miles a day and not feel sore after.
Well, I love that. It's like the huge demo fleet, and instead of having to get beat down by the finance guy in the dealership, just to take it out for a 3 mile spin or whatever, rent it for a day and figure if that's the bike for you. Or maybe you have a Harley and you want to know what these Royal Enfields are like, right? Well, it's right there. You can take it out for a day or longer.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. Like if you just get it for the day, I know you invest quite a bit, but the smaller bikes, they're like $100 a day, so it doesn't necessarily break the bank, but it gives you 8 hours of riding, and you can just don't stop just except for gas, and you can just. Speaking of gas, we also have some electric motorcycles, so we have some zeros in the fleet as well. If you want to try out an electric motorcycle, but that maybe you only stop and you can ride it for 8 hours straight and just drop it off at the end of the day. And then if it's for you or not, because the purchase itself is much higher than the $100 you may invest for the day.
Hmm. That's an interesting one. The zero electric motorcycles. I've ridden a bunch of electric motorcycles now, and they're always kind of mind-blowing, right? It's a different thing. It's the same thing, but it's a different thing. And Harley Davidson Livewire, they've got a few models now, and I always recommend if you get a chance to ride one, ride one. And with EagleRider, you don't have to wonder anymore. You can just rent it for a day and find out.
Yeah, and I do also like the electric motorcycle. That's one of my second motorcycle is actually a Zero SRF that I used to commute from my house to our offices here. And it's just, people think it's not the real thing. There's no noise there, but it's something futuristic about it, like the way it whizzes through just you have that nice little tune, like the futuristic sound and the instant torque and phenomenal acceleration and the range is also okay. Like it will never be a touring bike. It will always be a commuter bike. But I charge it at home. I plug it in when I get home, and then I take it off the next morning. I get 2 days out of it, like in my commuting. But I also do quite a bit of freeway, and it's just fun. They're fun to ride. Like they're so easy. Also for beginners, I have to say, because you don't have to worry about the clutch, about shifting and watching the traffic and making a turn and using the signals and all these things that happen, when you get on a bike. So it's cool to try those out as well. And just for the convenience of it and the fun of it. Like it really is a different experience zipping through the canyons with no sound and just taking all the nature sound, if you will, and a little bit of wind noise.
Well, and that's the difference with all these motorcycles, right? They offer a different experience. And if you've wondered what it's like, it's cool. You can just show up and take one out for a day and find out for yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I have this bike here, and my other bike, my Road Glide, is actually in Sturgis still. So I flew it. I shipped it. Lucky, I'm fortunate enough that we have trucks. We have a lot of semi trucks moving our bikes all over the U.S. every day because we have 600 to 700 bikes on the road every single day. And as I said earlier, some of them are one ways, so people don't want to ride them back.
Yeah.
So we have the semis. We have a great team of logistics partners, and they move those bikes. So I put mine on a trailer to Denver, and then rode into Sturgis from Denver. So about a 6.5 hour ride, and it was my first Sturgis. So I said, I while we have great bikes, I cannot take a rental on my first Sturgis ride. I have to bring my own bike. And with the big bags and things, it's not made for LA traffic. So I have it in Sturgis, and then now after Sturgis is done, we are going to ship it to Salt Lake City. So I'm going to get in one more ride there to Park City and just ride around, because this is one thing that I noticed after the last 2 months that we've been riding 2,500 miles or so since I joined. Visiting our stores and going to events and going on partner rides. I just want to ride on my own again. And really remind myself why I actually got into riding. Is like this, you clear your head and you just ride around, and if you see something nice, you just pull over. It's a little more complicated in a group, right? So I'm going to get in a personal ride in Salt Lake, visit our store there, and then go up to Park City for a night and just ride through the mountains there. That'll be nice, and then probably ship it to the south, to the Sun Belt, because the weather is turning at some point. But there's always year-round riding in the south of the US. So we're focusing all of our winter business actually on the south. We have a lot of tours coming up as well, and in the Sun Belt in Florida, California, and I believe Texas areas. And we also shortened the tours for the winters, like winter getaways, like 2 or 3 nights, because most people are out of vacation days by the end of the year. But if you can do a long weekend, we're here for you. And if you want to get out of the, Chicago cold and go down to Florida or to even to California or Texas, we offer the winter getaway tours as well. So my bike is going to sit down there and then probably join a couple tours of those.
Excellent. So that's one of the tweaks you're making to EagleRider, right? To putting in a few shorter tours, make it easier for people to do a quick getaway instead of a big commitment. What else do you see for the future? What other tweaks are you going to make to the program?
So one is, like I mentioned before, the club concept, building more local communities around the club component, and like club rides and club activations. So that there's real value of coming here and riding together, because if you look at the industry, you have the Harley guys, you have the performance bike guys, and we have the scramblers and cafe racers, but they don't really ride together. And with EagleRider, you can actually do that because we have all the different bikes, and you bring them together, and they can ride, together. And all we need is a reason to ride. So if we give them a reason, people will come. It's either it's a charity event or if it's just a barbecue down the street. Like, people will come if there's a reason. They just need a reason to justify picking up their bikes and going somewhere.
Okay,
I think that's what we can deliver. So we're going to capitalize on the club component in the subscription model. That's one thing. The others, are the tours, shortening the tours, because especially the younger demographic, because they travel so much, they'd rather get in one more trip rather than spending 10 nights somewhere. They do 3 nights here, 3 nights there. So we're looking into that as well. You can't obviously do Route 66 in 3 days. I mean, you can if you're one of those iron butts, but you're on vacation. So let's make it easy. So we have a few of those shorter tours that we'll offer in the future. And then additionally we have a new product component that we launched in the Las Vegas market, is our off-road side-by-side tours.
Okay.
So we have a tour there, a tour component that we launched in the second quarter of this year, in a soft launch, and then our proper launch will be towards the fall once the heat is dying down a little bit in the Vegas area. And we have Yamaha and Polaris side-by-sides, and we do a guided tour through the desert. So it starts at the Pioneer Saloon. That is, I think, the oldest saloon in southern Nevada or something. You have like bullet holes in the wood walls there, and we actually go out in the desert. So it's not a prefixed track. We actually go into desert. We go up to 6,000 feet on a mountain there, and then drop back down. You see wildlife, the wild mustangs, and we have clean air helmets as well that give you the fresh air. Even if you went, I did it at 104 degrees, and I was comfortable in the car because I had the fresh air blowing into my helmet. That's really cool. And we have cooling vests that you can put on. There's an intercom in each car, so you can laugh and giggle together and complain about the drivers driving. And then, you follow the guide through the desert. So that's a really cool experience. So we're looking into getting more people excited about power sports in general, because, and this best, the one thing that prevents people from entering the motorcycle industry is the M1 license that you need, right? So with the side-by-sides, you don't need this. You have a car license and you can go. So I think it will help us, drive people towards power sports business, but also people that may not know that EagleRider exists. They have a license, but they may not know that we exist and what we do. This will be a nice entryway into the world of EagleRider. And EagleRider, the name can mean anything that's rideable falls under the umbrella of EagleRider. So that's another focus of ours, the off-road tours, and see if we can launch more of those across the US, because Vegas obviously is a very competitive market when it comes to outdoor tours or in general. And I would say in Vegas, you don't compete for money, you compete for time. Because people have one weekend, they're going to do one nightclub, one day club, a couple of restaurants, maybe see a show, and then you have another 5 hours. What do you do in those 5 hours? And hopefully they'll choose an off-road tour with us.
Okay, so this off-road tour, is this on motorcycles off-road, and then you show up and the side-by-sides are there waiting for you to ride?
No, it's all side-by-sides. But we are working on a specialty tour right now for the end of October with our partner Yamaha. And it will be a combination between on-road, on motorcycles, on-road and off-road, as well as the last day you show up on your motorcycle and you park it right next to the side-by-side, and then you also have an off-road component with side-by-side. So we're combining on-road, off-road motorcycling with side-by-side, and we do all of this in 3 days. Like I said, a little shorter time frame. That will be at the end of October that we're launching this and piloting that tour. Hopefully that will work well because it combines all these different things, and I think we'll ride about 100 miles or so off-road, which will be.
Well, that sounds really fun because I've driven a couple side by sides and they are a blast, especially if you're in the right area. I mean, they are just so fun, but they also are kind of pricey. And to park one in your garage, you got to clear up 7 motorcycles to make room for the side by side. If you can just show up and have a day of blasting around on one with EagleRider, that sounds ideal.
Yeah, I think so too. And we only charge for the driver. All passengers are free.
Yeah.
Because the car is going out anyways. That's how we look at it. If it's one person or two or three or four, the car is going out, and the driver, you can switch driving, and that's no problem either. So if you want to take, it's about a 2 hour tour, just pure riding in the through the desert. And when I did this tour, I was really amazed by the way the team has set it up. And what I had to get used to is with those side by sides, in the beginning you drive it like a car. Like you see a bump coming up and you're going to slow down.
Yeah.
And with the side by sides, you just want to power through it because it's going to be much more stable with the shocks. It's going to be much more stable if you power through those bumps and then with a car. So I learned that. So rather accelerate and power through the holes than just go on and bounce through them. Fun experience.
Well, motorcycles are powered by engines and side by sides are too. So I see a lot of crossover there. I think that's cool that you're mingling them.
Yeah. I think I hope it's going to be successful. Like once we combine really the motorcycling part and the side by side part, I think that will be, because there's something for everybody. And even if you get on the motorcycle and you do the tour and then you show up at the saloon and you drop the motorcycle, or drop off the motorcycle, I should say. Don't drop them, but drop them off, and then get in the side by side. Your family could join as well, and that's what we're looking at as well. Like how can we, we call it the adventure crew. It could be a bachelorette party, it could be a bachelor party, it could be a family. Because some of the side by sides, the Yamahas, for example, they have a raised back row so the kids can actually see as well. You're not just looking at the back of a seat, but you're a little higher in some of those side by sides, that you can actually look around as well, and they have a great experience, not just look at a door and a back seat and not see where they're going. So that will help as well with family entertainment, especially, I've met a few riders now over the past 2 months, and once you have kids, they tend to put the motorcycle to the side for a little while. It prevents them from riding. But if you do this as a family, everybody's buckled in for 4-point harness and have the helmets on. That's a cool experience. It kind of gets them back into the power sports business, but also there's no problem bringing the family along.
Yeah. Cool. So 2025, any other things that you're trying to hit to keep EagleRider advancing?
Yeah, I think one focus of mine is the EagleRider exclusives, like the CVO, like the Yamaha Tour, that we combine, the off-road, on-road, and side-by-sides, because I think we have the platform and we can really leverage this platform for all of our partners to come in and present their models and present their products in a more, like you said, extended demo ride or an experience. So we're going to shift more towards the experiential character of what we really do. We don't just rent motorcycles. We enable dreams, and we give you the tool, but you can do with this tool as you please. And I cannot predict the weather. I can't predict the route that you're taking unless you're with me on the guided tour. I can tell you where we go, but it's up to you to create those memories yourself. And that's what we're really going to focus on, is the experience, the club, the community character of the motorcycle industry. And when people ask me why I would transition from the fitness industry to the motorcycle industry, well, one, because I ride, and I think it's a very cool industry, and there's a passion there. And now we're shifting gears at EagleRider into the new demographics and make sure that we're around for the next 50 years to come and longer. But also, I think the fitness industry is very similar to the motorcycle industry. And you meet these guys at the gym, especially at Gold's Gym. You don't know what the person does for a living standing next to you lifting weights. I've worked out, I still work out at Gold's, and I see these guys every night when we work out together, and I don't know if they drive a G-Wagon or a beat up Kia. I don't know, because it's just about lifting weights. It's just about the passion of going to work out. And somebody may work out like I don't know, some broker just closed the main deal and he just blow off steam and he goes and works out. And the other guy just finished his shift, at a fast food place, but they work out together. And I think that's a really cool thing about the fitness industry. And I can also see it in the motorcycle industry, where it doesn't matter what you do for a living. You just show up and you ride together, and it works across all different levels of society. And it's very inclusive. And as long as you ride, people are like, oh, I just have a small bike. It doesn't matter. You ride, so you come with us. And that's really cool. And same with, somebody who's trying to lose weight in the fitness industry. It's like, oh, I'm not that strong, or I'm not there. But you're here. You're not on the couch. You're here. You're working out. So that's what I like about both industries. So we would like to, in 25, like lean into that community component more, and bridge the gaps also between different motorcycle groups. Like I said earlier, the Harley guys versus the performance bikes versus the hipsters on the cafe racers, and bring them together. So that's a focus. And then obviously we're ramping up for the centennial of Route 66.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
coming up, I believe it's in 26. So, but celebrations start in 25, I heard. So we're looking into what we can do there for the special 100th birthday of Route 66. That's obviously a big one, not just for international tourists, but I think also for domestic riders that we have in the US.
Okay, I see our meeting is we're nearly out of time on it. This has gone pretty quickly. But I think we covered all the ground. Is there anything else about EagleRider that you want to leave people with?
I don't think so. I think we touched on everything, and it really is, what I learned is sometimes people think it's so complicated to get a motorcycle license, but it actually is not. Which may be a good or a bad thing in the US. You get, compared to where I'm from in Germany, you have to take classes and lessons and all of this. So it's about $1,500 to get your license in Germany, compared to, what is it, $30 over here.
Yeah.
But if you do it in the right way and you do the safety course as well, I think it's such an easy entry into the industry. People just don't know about it. So hopefully we can do our part as EagleRider to attract more riders, not just for our sake, but for the industry's sake. And then, make those bikes available for them, and move them onto more butts and seats, and just enjoy it, because it really is, you have those life-changing rides. I've done one from LA to Seattle and took PCH all the way down, like 101 and PCH. It was a 10-day trip, and I loved it, and I still think about it. And you learn a lot about yourself as well. But then you also have not just those unforgettable moments or those life-changing moments, but you also just have fun rides where you get together. So hopefully, at EagleRider, by simplifying our product offering and our value proposition, and making those bikes and side-by-sides accessible to more groups, we can help the industry grow, and also help our OEM partners, with retail bikes. So hopefully we can do that in the future.